critters to be found. Come listen in, come gather round.
I'm David Fitzsimmons, and I'm here in my studio today to share with you my Curious Critters book. Today we're going to read from the section that has the blue jay and the Ohio crawfish. In a previous session I read the blue jay. Today we're going to read the Ohio crawfish. Now before we read that, I need you to help me out during the reading. Crayfish have giant pinchers, and I want you to hold your hands up like you have giant pinchers, and I want you to go snap, snap, snap. Here's how we're going to do it. When we get to the section of the reading where I need you to do that, I'm going to go 3, 2, 1. And then I want you to use your giant pinchers and go snap, snap, snap. Let's try it. 3, 2, 1. Snap, snap, snap. One more time. 3, 2, 1. Snap, snap, snap. Perfect. All right, here we go. Ohio crawfish. Do you know why I'm waving my giant claws? I'm warning you, don't come any closer. 3, 2, 1. Snap, snap, snap. I catch my food with these claws. I also attack and defend myself with them. 3, 2, 1. Snap, snap, snap. Do you want to know something really cool? If any of my legs get hurt, including my giant claws, I can grow new ones. Pretty neat, huh? Enough chit-chat. Back off. 3, 2, 1. Snap, snap, snap. That's the Ohio crawfish. Now you might wonder why some people say crayfish and some people say crawfish. Actually, the general term, what most people use, is crayfish, but in different parts of the country we call them different things. In the South, they're often called crawfish, but here in the North we tend to call them crayfish. I know the person who named this particular crayfish. His name is Roger Toma. He's a friend of mine and he lives in the Cleveland area, and Roger thought it would be funny to name a northern crayfish with a southern term. Well, I want to show you some more crayfish. I've photographed lots of animals, and I want to tell you a little bit about the photography that I do. I put the animals inside a light tent. This is me photographing flowers inside the light tent out in nature, but it's also where I put the animals that I photograph. So when I'm taking pictures of curious critters, I take them to nature centers, zoos, aquariums, and sometimes right here in my own studio with animals I find out in nature. There are a lot of cool crayfish. Many of them are a fairly brown, indistinct, not particularly interesting color, but some of them can be particularly beautiful. Reds, and some can even have blues. Now you may know that crayfish are related to lobsters, which are typically sort of a brownish green color, but even they can have unusual colorations. Sometimes they're bright red, and sometimes they are very rarely blue. 1 out of every 1 to 2 million lobsters, scientists say, are born blue. So there's the crayfish that I photographed, and I have something even more special to show you today. I have a visitor here in my studio.
This is a big water crayfish. They're found in creeks and rivers, and this little guy, or not so little guy, measures about 8 inches long. It's one of the larger crayfish, and it is an absolute beauty. Look at those claws, big pinchers, which they can hold their food with, but they can also use them to attack or defend. And you don't want to get your fingers in there. Boy, do they have a pinch. So I hold them from behind like this to keep the front legs from being able to come back and get me. And notice the giant antennae. And while you're looking at it, notice the resemblance, the similarity to a lobster. Tail, claws, legs, and the giant antennae. So that's a big water crayfish, a live animal, just like the ones that I photograph in my light tent.
So keep an eye out for a crayfish in a pond or a creek near you. But remember, be careful when you reach down the water because they've got those giant pinchers that go 3, 2, 1, snap, snap, snap. In addition to photographing the animals, I write about them. The writing for these books takes many, many changes or revisions. In fact, when I write pieces like the crayfish and others, sometimes I change them 100, 150, 200 times. So the next time you try writing something, and you want to make it better, you make some revisions, just like I did with the crayfish. If you're interested in finding out about more Curious Critters, you can visit my website. On the Home Learning page, there's all kinds of information about the animals. There are games, audio recordings of me reading the animals, and even interviews of me on TV. So that's the Curious Critters website, and today we've met and learned about crayfish. This is David Fitzsimmons coming to you from my studio, and I want to remind you to always stay curious.
Curious critters to be found. Come listen in, come gather round.